So recently I did something really interesting. I played blind tennis. Have a look at this. I had to put on these goggles. I couldn't see a single thing. And the rules are pretty simple. You're allowed to let the ball bounce twice. The ball is slightly bigger than a regular tennis ball, and it has bells inside to help you find it. I couldn't even find it on the ground a lot of the time. It is so hard to do. And I played for an hour. I showed almost no improvement whatsoever. But after an hour of effort, it culminated in this amazing achievement.
Backhand.
Hang on, did I hit it over the net?
You hit it over the net.
Come on!
Yes!
Yeah, I'm a weapon. And I did all of that because of the man that you are about to meet, Maurice Gleeson. He is the head of Blind Sports and Recreation Victoria and received an Order of Australia medal for his work making sport accessible to the visually impaired. Would you please welcome Maurice Gleeson? It's so good to have you here. We'll get to my amazing tennis ability shortly. Yeah. But why is doing something like blind tennis so important for the people that play?
Up until 7 or 8 years ago, tennis was never seen in Australia in any serious way that people who are blind or visually impaired could possibly play in any formal way. So it was never really available. Then we started to develop it, and we got these people of all ages starting to take on an activity that previously was never offered to people who are blind or visually impaired.
And what's it been like for them?
Oh, it's been a change of lifestyle. There's one guy there, he lost a lot of his vision when he was about 13 years old, and he was lost in life. He didn't have a real purpose. He was struggling to find an activity that he could enjoy and undertake, and he got involved in tennis, and his whole world now has changed. He's a great tennis player, but other sports and other opportunities have come his way, so it's a life-changing for him.
So this is Chris that I was playing against on the day.
Yeah.
He's actually going to be touring to Spain.
He is.
To play in the international blind tennis competition over there.
Right. Yeah.
And how did the Aussies go in international competition?
Well, we don't know. I'll let you know after me. Because this is the first time we ever had the international blind tennis tournament.
Have you been given any directives for your behaviour? Because you are quite noisy from the sideline.
I am, yes. People say, Maurice, are you going over there? Yes, I'm going over as the Australian representative, but not to play tennis. Charlie, you and I were equalling our tennis ability.
Right. So you don't play, you organise and you supervise?
No.
And you yell?
No, I do play. I love to play double. So I play with a sighted partner, and he or she has to do all the work. I've done many different sports, from cricket and goalball and skydiving and scuba diving and all these sports. I've never been any good at it. I've been hopeless at all of them. and people say, no, Maurice, you're good. I'm not good.
Well, you say that, but like I felt doing it that I could practice every day for the rest of my life and I would not get any good at it.
Well, as a person with sight, you're very good at it. So I think you would train in time and develop your directional hearing and your coordination. So, this time in about 25 years' time, you should be good.
Right. I'll work towards that.
It's a lifetime goal.
Well, tell us a bit more about you. Tell us, how did you go blind?
Oh, I had an accident in the school ground when I was 12 and a half. And I should have had school that day, but I didn't. I went to school and I come out of a shelter shed and I went to turn the corner and I collided with another school kid in the ground, and anyway, cut a long story short, it resulted in a double detached retina. And so my vision went blurry. I was taken straight to the eye in the hospital. They operated, they brought the vision back, and then for about 4 or 5 days I had to rest. And then when I took the bandages off, I could see. Then when I was going on the way to the shower, the retina tore away a second time, and they couldn't repair it. So that was when I was about nearly 13.
Now, Your brother is also blind.
Yeah.
How did he go blind?
Well, about 18 months later, he lost his sight in a supermarket door. Many years ago, and people of a certain generation can remember some of the supermarkets used to turn on the mat and the door would open up or in or out. On this occasion, it came back and hit him on the head and also resulted in a double detached retina.
So you went blind, your brother went blind, and the news got worse with your third brother.
Yes, I had a brother who was in between Nick and myself, and he died at the age of 22 in a shooting accident. You know, him and a group of friends were mucking around, and I thought the gun wasn't loaded, but it was loaded, and he was shot, and he died in that accident.
You'd be forgiven for thinking that you had the unluckiest family in the world, just hearing that.
Yeah, well, it was a very challenging time for me, you know, and with my parents who were very devoted and wonderful parents. In those days, parents didn't get counselling or support or anything like that. It was just, you know, these things happened and you had to go on with your life. But both of them died suddenly as well, 49 years old and 52. And so that was a very, very challenging, you know, 10 or 12 years with all these things going terribly wrong.
So how did you get from there to here? I imagine that was quite a hole to try and climb out of.
It was really incredibly, it was the most terrible, challenging, you know, I was struggling with life. I was struggling to find an answer or why these things are happening. And there were very low moments where I didn't want to wake up. You know, I just couldn't face the day. I guess I went so low, I thought if I didn't become mentally strong and determined to survive, that I would end up in some, you know, like in those days, Mont Park or the Rundle with a complete breakdown. So I went to all these people seeking some counselling, but what they try to do is resolve the issue. They didn't acknowledge how I was feeling. And a friend of mine from the country came down, and she came and hadn't seen me for a while. She came and hugged me and said, "Maurice, you had a tragic life and how terrible it's been." And when she sort of acknowledged how I was feeling, I was determined to survive, and which I have. And for the last 30 odd years, I've had a most wonderful life. I've met some most incredible people. I've had wonderful experience. I've been able to travel the world, many, many different countries. I've been able to go to university and to work and to study and, you know, all that. Never been unemployed and met some wonderful people.
How was it getting from the bottom? Like, how did you then start?
Well, you really, people can help you, people can encourage you. Ultimately, it has to be you. Now, everybody has a story. Everybody has their story, and everyone's story is important. So, but what's really important is that what do you want? And you have to have a purpose in life, and you have to be determined to survive and have a meaningful life and enjoy life, and just be absolutely determined to survive and have a great life.
So you've done more than survive, though. You've done things that I've never done. You've been skydiving. What was that like?
Well, my brother and I did a fundraising activity. We did the run and jump. So we ran up the Rialto building in the morning, and in the afternoon we did the skydiving. Now, as I said to you, I'm not all that good in sport. So we did the skydiving up at Pickering. Nick landed right on target. I landed 7 k's off target on a farm with cows, and the farmer came out with his ute to take us back to where we needed to go. I said, that's what I told you, that's my whole sporting prowess. It's not the best.
Being blind, do you think that makes skydiving more or less terrifying? I can't, because I wouldn't want to see the ground like rushing up at me. At the same time, I'd kind of like to see where the ground was rushing up at me?
Well, what happened was, as I'm sitting on the edge of the craft, I'm thinking to myself, what on earth am I doing here? But I was there, it was too late, and when I let go and started, it's like swimming with no water. You know, you're just floating down, and then you have to do a tandem, and the guy started to do all these fancy tricks. And I said, no, don't worry about fancy trick. I'm happy to just land. And I didn't. And look, it was a great experience. Would I do it a second time? No. But I survived. The scuba diving I really enjoyed because it's, you know, the tranquility, the plantation, and it was really funny. When we went down the first dive, there and you're with your buddy and we, you know, swimming around, and it kept on handing me something, and I would touch it and feel it, and I said, and I'll throw it away. It kept on giving back again. I'll throw it away. I was thinking it was all the plantation. It actually was bread. I was meant to be feeding the fish with it.
But your love of adventure has also taken you around the world. In the best case of the blind leading the blind I've ever heard of, you actually took an 87-year-old blind woman on her first ever holiday overseas, and you were in your 30s.
That's right.
How hard was that?
Well, when I look back now, I don't know how we survived, but
Because travelling with people I love is hard enough.
Well, I was a social worker. She was a client of mine. I've been supporting her for some time. Anyway, she asked me would I take her overseas because she'd never been overseas and she wanted to go and experience travelling before she died. And I said to her, look, I don't know about this. I think, you know, it'd be better if your family or a friend took you, you know. But her solicitor, after a while, rang me and said, look, Marge wants to go overseas. She's never been. She trusts you. She wants you to go. So if you don't take her, she'll never do it. So what a position he put me in. So we went to Dublin and Waterford, where her ancestors came from. Then we went to London. Then she had a friend in Florida, in America, so we went there as well.
She really dragged you around, didn't she?
She absolutely did. She had a wonderful time. What she loved when somebody said, Marge, your husband's outside waiting for you. So I wasn't quite sure whether I was aging very rapidly or she found youth. Because you wouldn't, 50 years different. But look, again, Charlie, what the greatest satisfaction for me was that I was enabled that person to do something that she wanted to do and take that chance. And you know, she was so forward-thinking for that generation that, you know, I said to Marge, what happens if anything happened if we're overseas? And I had to ask the question, if you died or anything. Oh, Maurice, it depends what part of the journey. If it was at the start, just send your body back without, and you continue on.
Now, you went blind in the 70s. So that was when you last created visual memories in your mind. So does everyone in the world look like they're in the 70s? Like, is everyone wearing flares?
No.
Do I have an afro?
Yeah, afro. You know, people ask this question. You know, there's no advantages being blind, I can tell you, except for one. When you don't have any vision at all, you know, you can use, I mean, I could think, you know, you're like Brad Pitt or something like that.
Yeah, I'm more
images of
Ryan
Marilyn.
Gosling.
Yeah, I know we've got a lot of Al McPhersons in the audience today. Yeah. But what it is, you know, a real advantage is that you're not judging people on their external appearance. You're actually judging people for who they are. So, you know, so I think that's some advantage because often people who have vision, they often will judge by the external appearing. Oh, he or she, oh, they look good. And they never got to know that person. So I think that's the only advantage I can think of.
Maurice, you have done so much with your life. What does the future hold?
You know, people say, you know, as you're getting older, you know, I reckon as you get older, Well, for me, this is the most wonderful time of my life. I'm looking forward to the future. I would hope to continue to develop opportunity for people to be able to participate. I'm just a great believer in all of us to participate in life. Whatever, it doesn't have to be physical recreation, just to have a purpose, enjoy our lives. Sometimes it's the most simple things in life that bring us the greatest pleasure. You know, if you say, what do I like doing? Just having a coffee with my friends and all that, that's what I really enjoy.
Well, Maurice, it's just been a delight having you on the Weekly. I appreciate it so much. And if you would like to find out more about Blind Sports and Recreation Victoria, you can check out their website at blindsports.org.au. Would you please thank Maurice Gleeson? Maurice,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.